unbelievable night. Trump is in it. He is way in it.
The 2016 election shocking the system.
The political aftershocks reverberating across the nation after a billionaire who has never held political office was elected president.
A dream come true for millions of Americans, a nightmare for millions of others.
That nightmare being felt by Democrats across the country.
The GOP not only winning the White House, but maintaining control of both House of Congress.
Democratic lawmakers feeling down and out.
Hey guys, this is M from Alpha Male Secrets, and I just want to do this quick video to address some questions I've been getting from you, my subscribers. You wanted me to comment on this, on how Donald Trump won the election and how Hillary lost the election, especially when Hillary had all of this support behind her. She had pretty much all of Hollywood backing her up. She had Jay-Z, Beyonce putting on concerts for her. She had the media. Obviously the media was on her side. Some people at CNN were even feeding her the questions before the presidential election, so she had these questions in advance so she could prepare for the presidential election. So with all the support behind her, how could she possibly blow it? How could the Democrats possibly blow it? You know, the whole time when they were thinking it was going to be a landslide for Hillary, right? I think at one time CNN even projected she had a 90% chance of winning the presidential election. So how did she blow it with all of this support behind her? And the truth is, she blew it because basically the Democrats have, you know, and Hillary included, obviously she's a Democrat, but the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, all of their supporters and all those elitists out there, including all those elitists in Hollywood where I live, have just completely lost touch with the common voter. They've lost touch with what the common voter in the United States wants and what the common voter in the United States is actually hurting for. And what the common voter in the United States is actually hurting for and what they actually want is more jobs. They just want to be able to provide for their family. They want more money, okay? And the common voter in the United States is not worried about which bathroom a transgender can use. They're not worried about just like silly things that is not going to help them put food on their table, all right? And Donald Trump was able to tap into that. Okay, Donald Trump tapped into that. He was in touch with what the common voter in the United States actually wants. And the Democrats have just completely lost touch with that. Their argument for everything these days is, you know, as soon as you disagree with them, you must be a racist, you must be a homophobe, you must be a misogynist, you must hate women, you must be a xenophobe. What do you hate, Muslims? You want to deport all immigrants out of the United States. You know, it's that kind of talk which the common voter in the United States no longer relates to. Okay, common voter in the United States no longer relates to that kind of talk. And immediately after Donald Trump won the election, you know, obviously I'm from San Francisco, so most of my friends that are still in San Francisco, obviously they're leftist, they're Democrat, and they're like, how could this possibly happen? How could Trump win? All of his supporters and anyone supports Trump must be a racist themselves. They must be a misogynist themselves. They must be homophobes, xenophobes. They must hate all immigrants. You know, it's that kind of talk that really will keep Democrats from ever regaining office again. And I really believe that. And I actually did a video right here on my channel before the election even happened, where I predicted that Donald Trump was going to become the next president. Right? I kind of did a joke video where I said, hey, I'm reporting from the future, and guess what? Donald Trump is our new president. But I did believe that in my heart 100% that Donald Trump was going to become the next president of the United States. That's why I made that video, and that's why I had no problem posting it on my channel, even though a lot of people sent me some nasty emails like, hey man, you're an idiot, or hey, there's no way he's gonna win the election, it's Hillary all the way, or hey, you're never gonna see a Republican president ever again in your lifetime, and all this nonsense. You know, I just kept my mouth shut because I knew they were all wrong. I knew Donald Trump was going to become the next president. And the reason I knew that was because he was the only candidate that was getting up there and was speaking to the actual voters' needs, okay? He was speaking to the average voter in the United States, to their basic needs, which is food and shelter, survival, right? He wasn't talking about which bathroom you could use. He wasn't talking about gays getting married. He wasn't talking about you know, diversity programs or multiculturalism. He wasn't getting involved in that because he knows that's really not what the average American cares about. Okay, maybe here in California, definitely here, you know, in San Francisco where I'm from. I'm actually visiting my family right now, so I'm in the Bay Area this week as I'm making this video, and also in Los Angeles where I live. You know, they think the same way, but you know, I have a lot of relatives in the Midwest. They could care less about those issues. They could care less about transgenders and homosexuals and diversity programs, and you know, they could care less about that. All they care about is having a job and having enough money to put food on the table so they could take care of their family and their kids. That's what they care about. They don't care about all these ridiculous issues that Democrats are so obsessed with. You know, all these social justice issues. That's why they, you know, we've nicknamed them SJWs. And seeing all these protests, especially a lot of these students out there protesting, it just makes me laugh. You see a lot of these college students, a lot of these young kids out there protesting, high school kids. They're protesting for the same reasons why Donald Trump won the election. Okay, they're protesting for issues that, again, the average American living in the United States could care less about. They don't care about gays getting married. They don't care about transgenders, which bathroom they're going to use. They don't care about ridiculous nonsense like that because they're more worried about themselves. And it just shows how out of touch the Democrat Party is. They're just completely out of touch. The Democrats, the elitists, the liberals, they're completely out of touch. And I'm not a political guy. I don't lean left or right. If anything, I'm somewhere in the middle. Although, as I've gotten older, I do tend to lean right a little bit more. I'm not a full-on conservative or anything like that, but I do believe in God. I was raised Catholic. I try to live my life by the scriptures. I'm not perfect, neither are you, nobody is, but I do try to live my life to a moral standard. But I do try to stay away from politics in the same sense, because I do understand, you know, where people are coming from on the left, because I was born and raised in San Francisco, and now I'm living in Los Angeles. But I also understand where people are coming from on the right. And people on the right these days tend to be the ones who make more sense, just because they generally base their arguments on facts and logic, where the Democrats on the left, all of their arguments are almost entirely based on their feelings and their emotions and their egos and their temper tantrums, you know, and you can't win arguments like that. You're not going to be able to communicate with the average American voter, you know, in the United States when, you know, you're letting your emotions take over. You're not able to tell them what they want to hear. You're not able to tell them what you can do for them. And that's something that Hillary never really talked about. With the Democrats, their primary concern is getting the first female president elected, right? They just want a woman. They just want to get the first woman in office. And really, I mean, that in itself is kind of a joke, because shouldn't you want the best candidate in office, whether he's male or female? You know, all Democrats want, their whole focus was trying to get the first female president elected, right? They just want to finally get a woman in office, you know, and that's all they care about. There's like, we need to get a woman in office and break the glass ceiling, where, you know, the average American voter doesn't care about that. And believe it or not, I mean, the average American voter, they could care less if the person in office is male or female, as long as that person can do the job, right? They just want somebody who can do the job, who is going to work for them and come through with their promises. And they did not see Hillary as that, okay, whether she's male or female. And they want to make it all about, you know, Democrats, they love to play this identity politics. This is why they also lost the election, because they're all about identity politics. They don't even see you as a person. They see you as a skin color. They see you as a whatever your sexual preference is. They don't even see you as a person anymore. And the average American voter does not respond to that. Okay, and that's another huge reason why they lost the election. And that's another huge reason why more and more people are starting to just ignore the Democrats in general, you know. And they say that they were saying that a Republican would never get into office ever again. Obviously he did. Donald Trump is gonna, you know, become our next president of the United States. In my personal opinion, if the Democrats keep going the way they are, I don't think we're gonna see another Democrat in office for a long, long time. Thanks to the internet, people are waking up to the lies of the mainstream media. We're starting to see that they're not working for us. That is why Donald Trump won the election, is because he was able to talk to the average American voter, and he was able to speak to them, and he was able to tell them exactly what he is going to do for them. And he was able to communicate this in a way that reached them, where he made it about you, the voter, where Hillary and the Democrats, it was all about them. It was all about, you know, getting the first female in office and electing our first female president. It was all about them, and it wasn't about the voter anymore. That's why they lost. I mean, the average American voter who's hurting, you know, to feed his family, he doesn't care if whoever's in office is male or female. He just wants to know that he's going to be able to provide for his family, and he's not going to lose his job, and his job is not going to go overseas, right? That's all he cared about. And Donald Trump was able to focus in on that voter and, you know, in very, very simple terms, tell that voter what he was going to do for them. And he didn't make it about him. He wasn't like, hey, we're going to elect the first businessman, the first entrepreneur with no political experience to be in office. He didn't make it about him. He made it about you, the voter. And this is why he won. Okay? And I will be very, very surprised if we ever see another Democrat in office for a very, very long time. So long as they're out there and they're playing identity politics and they're race baiting and they're calling everyone racist and xenophobes and homophobes. I mean, those words don't even have meaning anymore. They don't even have the weight. They don't carry the same weight that they used to. Most people, you call them a racist these days, they just roll their eyes. And whenever you're arguing with somebody and you immediately jump to that and you're like racist, homophobe, misogynist, xenophobe, you hate immigrants, you lose all credibility. As soon as somebody hears the word racist these days, you just lose all credibility. They just stop listening to you, okay? And as long as the Democrats continue to do that, more and more people out there are just going to continue to ignore you, okay? More and more people are just going to continue to not take you seriously. Okay, and that's the truth. And this is coming from somebody who was born and raised in the most liberal city in the country, which is San Francisco, and now I'm living in Los Angeles, which is a little bit better. It's not as liberal, it's not as Democrat, but yeah, that's why Donald Trump won the election, is because he made it about you, the voter, and he didn't make it about him. Where Hillary wasn't making it about the voter, she was making it about herself. All her supporters were making it about them. Believe me when I say, the average American voter, as well as most people out there, are tired of being labeled and called racist, homophobes, misogynists, xenophobes, whatever it is, just because they don't agree with you. And so long as Democrats keep doing that, you're just going to continue to lose credibility. Okay? And I made this prediction here on my channel that Donald Trump was going to become president, and a lot of people got a lot of hate mail for that. They didn't believe me. They were like, oh, you're an idiot. There's no way they're ever going to elect somebody like Donald Trump in office, much less any Republican ever again. They were like, we're going to go through this Democrat generation where it's going to be all Democrat presidents. And I was laughing because I was like, I do not see that happening. you know, just based off of what the average American voter wants from his president. You know, I just don't see it happening. And actually, I see the reverse right now. I just don't see the Democrats ever regaining office again for a very, very long time, especially if Donald Trump actually follows through with his promises, which I have a feeling he will. I have a feeling that Donald Trump will actually come through with many of his campaign promises, unlike most politicians, which will make politicians and Democrats look even worse when he does. When he does come through with his promises, it'll make politicians look even worse. I mean, you watch some of these YouTube videos where they were predicting that that Hillary was gonna win by a landslide, and you just see the smugness in their faces, and you see just the self-congratulatory behavior, you know, and they've just lost touch with the American people. And oddly, the Republicans have gotten in touch with the American people, and that's how they got control of the White House, the Senate, Supreme Court. I mean, right now, Republicans are going to run everything, and this time, I don't think they're going to drop the ball. This time, I think they're going to come through with a lot of what they're saying they're going to do, just so the American people have even more belief in them, and they gain more credibility over the Democrats. Because right now, the Democrats, their ship is sinking. They're like the Titanic right now, and I just don't see them changing. I don't see them all of a sudden waking up and suddenly being able to carry on an intelligent argument with somebody that doesn't agree with them without calling them a racist or a misogynist or a homophobe or any other name. I just don't see that happening. And as long as they can't do that, I don't see the average American voter ever having any desire to vote for somebody like that as our president ever again. So those are my thoughts on the presidential election and how Donald Trump got elected, and you know, how Hillary could possibly blow it, especially with all the support that she had behind her. Those are my thoughts, and as you guys know, I'm not a very political guy. I don't like to talk politics on my channel just because I know it's very divisive. It's not really what we do here, but a lot of you have asked me for my opinion, and so I'm giving it to you. And like I said, I don't identify as a Democrat, and I don't identify as a Republican. I'm somewhere in the middle, although, like I said, you know, now that I've gotten a bit older, I tend to lean right a little bit more in my beliefs. I have more conservative beliefs than I had before, and I think Winston Churchill said it best, where he said, if you're young and you're not a liberal, you have no heart, but if you're old and you're still a liberal, you have no brain. So it's getting a little late here. I'm out here in the Bay Area, about to drive into San Francisco right now to see my family, and then tomorrow morning flying out back to Los Angeles. So until next time, this is M from Alpha Male Secrets, and I will see you in my next video.